Turn on the microphone. Hello everyone and welcome back. Hi, here she is. Everyone waited this morning for you, Mahtab, so...
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Happy to hear that, thank you.
Right?
For asking me, after me.
For you.
For me.
Fantastic.
How are you doing, Mino?
Mino is already there, fantastic. Did I show you that Stefan donated this morning some money for us? I just re-show that because it is amazing. This guy helps us a lot. It's fantastic. Thank you for that. Hey Ambresh, nice to see you. Hope you're well.
Thank you very much for all your support.
Yeah, it's
Thank
always
you.
every bit counts. Everything helps at the moment.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
right.
All right, so Mahtab. Now let's get started.
What
So what have we done?
what happened last time? Could you, Max, please open our emulator?
Sure. Let's start the application right away.
And I think it
Oh,
would
that's
be...
something else.
Hey, Abby.
Hey Abby.
And I think it would be also helpful if you could open the Adobe XD.
Adobe. Sure, we get that.
Here.
So let's check out. Oh, I have it open even. Look at
We
that.
are back. We also.
So that's this part, right? Here we want to work in. We want to have that nice little view here. We want to have the icon.
Exactly.
And so on and so forth. All right.
I think what we implemented last time was this nice package to get the dominant color.
Up here, right?
Yes, exactly. I think if the app is coming up, we can
yeah.
show that. That was pretty cool. I love it.
So it's a bit slower at the moment. I don't know if it's a problem with Android, but okay.
Ooh, the performance is very right.
Yeah, maybe I should had restarted the PC first. So what I will do is I will close that off because I think it's mostly because of the emulator itself. So, and because we are working on a Mac, we use the benefit of having a Mac OS, and that will not work. Let's take the iOS simulator.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit lightweight, right?
Yeah,
so we can,
is it?
Yeah, compared to the emulator, it's very easy to use.
Max, I'm also asking myself, what is the difference between emulator and simulator? Can you maybe explain me?
Sure, we can do that. But what I have to do first is increase the font size everywhere. Because I always do that before the stream starts usually, but we didn't have the time. So let's change that.
Preference is not good.
Now it's good.
Yes, nice question, right?
Yeah. So where is the difference between a simulator and an emulator? Well, an emulator is a real... how can you explain that? It is more than just a simulation of the product.
Okay.
It's easy enough, right? No, but an emulator really tries to get the whole device running. So that means you have really a boot up, you have that own encapsulated RAM inside, you have a hard disk inside, and so on and so forth, which is very close to a real device.
Okay, and this is normally the case for our Android devices or emulator.
It tries to emulate everything from the device, so that maybe you know the SNES emulators. These are gaming machines that try to emulate the real device from former times.
Okay.
And the same thing happens with the Android emulator. It tries to emulate the real device.
Okay.
While a simulator is more like, it looks like it, but underneath it is a Mac OS application.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the trick. So the iOS simulator uses the normal architecture and the normal construction of the Mac OS behind, and that's why it is also more performant, because it doesn't have to translate stuff.
Okay, and it's much more lighter.
Exactly. So the naming is different, but really what is underneath it is also completely different.
Okay.
So you hardly can compare them together. That's always a bit tricky. But I can share you some links, and I will add them also maybe in the video description, and now one can take there a look into.
Perfect.
So in the meantime, our iOS simulator has started. And let's make that a little bit bigger, that we have a big overview here.
It's perfect. So we can run it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Yeah. And then we can answer the question what we have done the last time, because we did quite a lot, if I remember right? So, as always, I think Every season we are going further. We do a lot of stuff.
And to be honest, every time I think we don't have so much anymore. So
it's
just
nearly
a couple of steps, and after that it's ready.
Yeah, but I think that's a general problem in programming, especially with side projects, so stuff that you do on the side. You don't see the hard work that you usually do, right? So if you want to make this a real release app in production ready, there are companies who are working 8 hours with a whole team to develop something like that. And if you then compare our 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week, that's nearly nothing compared to it. Okay, so we have that.
Yeah.
And if we click on that, we have that huge lag here because this calculation happens now with the image opening, right? So
exactly. This is the color from the app bar, which will be calculated according to the image that we selected for our category.
So what I want to do is, still we have a very high peak in the performance, unfortunately. We can show the performance overlay. So what happens if I click on these noodles is we get a complete jank. And I think we should see somewhere a spike now. Or do we? No, it's completely broken. I think that is related to the overlay here because it's an overlay on top of it. Maybe it's just getting stuck if we are in a sub screen or something like that.
What we said last time, if I can remember it correctly, was that maybe a step forward to improve our performance would be that we calculate the dominant color one time, and after that just add it to the Hive database.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would be a cool solution for today if we work on that. As I asked in the last live, can we really inverse the widgets like column, child 1, 2, must change like row, child 2, 1? That was a question. I didn't know that this was a question. I thought that was related to the old widget. So that would mean we have a column, right, where the first child and the second child, and now we have a row with the second child on the left and the first child there. So yeah, why not? Shouldn't be a problem.
I think we can map it, right? Oh
yeah, why not? I mean, that is what our responsive widget, for example, does automatically, that we can change these parts directly this way.
I think with width, for example, of the screen change.
Exactly. So I think Minu knows that because he created a fantastic PR for our for the website. So that's why I'm a bit confused if I understand the question right, of course. Okay, but let's search where we can save that, right? So we have these categories, and currently, if we click here, we can create our category, right? We give it a name like test, and then we select an image. So, and let's check this flower image. I like that. So if I press now submit, we would save this category. That works perfectly fine. Yeah. Now we want to interfere here, calculate our color, our dominant color, and save that within the database, right? So how I usually approach this is the first step that I do is I search exactly the place where we have the problem, where we want to save that.
So that means you will start in the UI, right?
Exactly. So I search for that button now, so the submit button. We know this is in the add category screen, right? So I will jump there. So add category screen. And here there needs to be a submit button, right? So if I close that off, we have here somewhere submit. Yeah. And here we go. We have a submit button where we have an onPressed function where we call it provider, or better said, 2 providers. And after that, we make saved successfully. So it happens here in this part, right? The save category. And actually what we want to do, now we calculate this image byte array that we save inside of our new created category model, right? Yeah. So instead of doing that right now with that image byte array, we want to have here a to-do. So to-do, calculate dominant color. Yeah. So, voila. And this means now we can do that in this area, right? Because we calculate what the image is asynchronously. You are local I use for it. Yeah, it will be locally saved at the moment. So, and now we want to make this huge calculation that takes some time, right? So, because that would make sense to the user too, because he would think, okay, now I'm somehow in a loading state, I have to save, so it will take maybe some seconds till it is done.
So it's actually normal behavior for our application.
Correct. So we can show a loading spinner, for example, here in that area. Okay, so what we will do is, I think we added that somewhere in the category screen where this dominant color gets calculated. And this comes from this from image provider, right? Where we have this image that we receive. And what I will do is I take the same behavior, more or less, and take that over. Hey, Flutterists, no, not at all. We started right now. Very deep in code as always. So, and I take this image, and here in that memory image, I pass now the image byte array inside, which is from up here, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So now we get this palette generator, this we can import. And now we get it from this image and have this dominant color. And hey Manya, nice to see you again.
Hey.
Ah, more familiar faces, I love that. So, and now we have this dominant color, which is actually just a color.
Yeah.
Voila. Now we create down here the category model. But this has increased now, right? So if we jump into the category model, this is the part that we want to save down into our database.
Should expand it.
Exactly. So we need a next part, which I take here. I just take this hive field, 5, which contains now a color.
Hello, Nicole.
I don't know. We can't save a color as is. So most
Why?
likely, because a color is not
a string?
supported by Hive. Right?
Okay.
It is a string, number, integer, blah blah blah.
So we can maybe string.
I think an integer is it, right? Because a color can be taken, or we can extract the color as an integer.
Was it that? I know that I did it last time, but to be honest.
Well, let me check. If we go one line below, dominant color dot as, or can we get something from that? We get a value, for example. If we get the value, we get an integer.
Yeah, okay,
and this
you're right.
integer we can save in the Hive database again. So for that, we go back to our category model. Yeah, you see, Embresh is also telling integer. Fantastic.
Guys, what are you doing right now?
Mahtab, go for it.
I will explain you. In the last session, we made it so far that we could calculate the dominant color and show it in our application, in the app bar, if you can remember. I will show it just...
Go for it.
Sorry, Max.
No worries.
I will just show it. So, if I jump here in this category, we made it that we can show the dominant color in our application. But as you saw, so you can continue. As you saw, we have some lag at the moment in our application. So last time we talked about it and we said the solution for that could be that we save this dominant color at the beginning as soon as the user creates a new category in our Hive database. And this is exactly what Max is doing right now. I hope I could answer your question.
Sure, that sounds perfect. Fantastic. I jump a little bit around. It's still with the keyboard. It's always a bit difficult. Sorry for that.
Okay, so you just extend our category model. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I extended our category model with the integer, dominant color of image. I don't know, it's way a wordy sentence, but dominant image color would be maybe better.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's good enough. Yep. Exactly, loading spinner. We will work on that in a second. Hey, Xaxa!
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
So, hello. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
So now we need an integer.
Correct. And for that, we know already that value is the integer, right? Easy enough.
I think the value that we are getting at the moment before we convert it is a uint8, right?
A uint8. No. The
What is
value,
that?
you mean this one?
No, before we convert it to the integer.
This guy?
Yeah.
This is a color itself.
It's a
just
color.
color
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes, Flutterist. Well done.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, yeah.
All right. So we get our categories. No
Hey,
worries.
coding guys.
I don't want to start speaking German because I could imagine that a lot of you running away because, you know, German is harsh. So, and this category is a category model. We can make that a little bit more sophisticated here. Fantastic. This one can be also final. I think even this one can be final. Fantastic. Just to increase the performance a little bit. Okay. So, and with that, we save this dominant color now already. And what this means if we run our builder, right? We will need the build runner running now. So I think we hopefully have that somewhere. No, of course not.
Yeah, because we change our database, right?
Exactly.
The model of our database,
Yes.
actually.
So I just need to find the script again, because as always, I don't have it. So let's open up a new browser. Or better, yeah.
Build runner, Flutter.
Always the same things that we search.
Yeah.
So this is pub run, and I think we will use.
I think if you scroll down, you will find also the
Flutter
complete.
command,
Yeah, the Flutter command.
No.
No?
Not anymore.
Are you in the
I'm
Dart?
in the build runner.
Okay. If you are using database, the table of that database appears in it.
Yeah, close enough. The thing is, we use Hive, and Hive automatically makes the ORM mapping. So that means it creates us the database in behind. Additionally, I think Hive is a NoSQL database, which means that we don't really create. I think not pub. We have to create
Flutter.
Flutter. Yeah. So we don't really create tables in the background. We just create documents.
Flutter, pub, run, build, runner, build.
Okay, so pub was missing.
Pub, run, build, runner, build. Yeah.
And I think we have to override existing files. So we need something for that, I think. So let's try this one.
I think it will happen automatically, right? No?
I don't think so. If we have files
if we have
that
build,
are existing
serve,
already,
test,
it
and
doesn't
watch.
override them.
Okay.
So what happens now? We create these files here. This G file is getting recreated. And there it is. Define verbose, output, log, track performance, low resources, delete conflicting. Yeah, of course. It needs to be very long, else it would be boring. So, enter. So what happens now? It removes these G files that are generated here, right? And we receive our new ones that we created. And as you see at the moment, there is nothing inside of the, we have something from the ID, we have the file, we have the image URL, but the dominant color is not there. So if we wait a second, it gets removed now. This is from our terminal, which needs now a second to recreate the images, or the files. Hopefully quickly. Oof. My laptop really struggles at the moment. Don't know what is the problem here. So hopefully after a minute or so it does what it needs to do.
I think it's gonna be okay.
You think so?
Yeah. To be honest, I think I don't add this
Remove conflict.
remove conflict things.
Indeed. Lee.
Yeah. Did you use provider for state management? Yes, we did.
Yeah, so we did. You have the same problem. Oh, I hope it has no problem with the Flutter version, because we are currently working on master channel. In the worst case, we have to switch back.
To the stable?
Yeah. If you are generating non-nullable language to be enabled, alright. So let's just wait another 20 seconds, just in case.
Yeah. I think if in case we need to add one extra field, so it will be created that in model.dart or model.g.dart.
Explain you.
I think we should add it in the model.dart, and after that with this build runner command it will be generated automatically in our model.g.dart. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Luthia, if this would be the truth, then we had a problem here. But I really hope that... Oh, overrunning budget. Wait a second. I think we have a complete different problem here. I worked in the Flutter repository the last couple of times.
Okay.
And most likely, or what I assume, is that we use the wrong... No, it's the right one.
What's going on?
I don't know. It has a weird issue here. Aborting your local changes in the following files would be overwritten. Mac benchmark pubspec dev integration tests. Huh.
from Flutter.
Just a second.
What's going on?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I have a Flutter problem here at the moment, so we have an issue. Can I not zoom? I thought I can. Anyway, let's run Flutter channel.
Version issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your local changes. No, it seems because I'm working with the Flutter repository from time to time, it drives now crazy. Do you have SVG library? I don't hope so. Or do we use SVGs?
No.
I thought so. So
I
let's
don't
check
think
that,
so.
but I don't believe that. So we have the palette generator, build runner. I think the biggest problem is at the moment that we are running in the wrong channel. So
How about if you just revert everything and change the channel?
I think it's not the changes in here. I think it is somewhere else. So it is complaining about dev benchmarks. We are not even in the dev folder at the moment. So I think that is somehow related to the stuff that I did with the Flutter. Yeah.
Flutter repository.
Exactly. So let's check out. Sorry
Flutter
for that.
problem called Doctor.
Yeah, but Flutter Doctor, we can try that. But I think in that case it doesn't help us because we are on the Flutter master channel. So if someone asks, it is my fault. I destroyed the application for us. So let me check how I can come here. We may command.
Everything is fine, but action is not generate.
Everything's fine, but action is not generated. Yep. So let me take a look. Bin. I search for the ZSHR because I think the path is wrongly set. So let's check this out. And we have here Flutter tools, Flutter working. Is there something else of Flutter? So the Dart is going to pub cache, that's fine. Depot tools, engine. So and this asks for the engine. Android tools, no, this is Android Heroku. That looks all fine, so I don't see anything that has a wrongly set path.
How about if you just run the command without the delete thingy?
I can do that, but the problem is it will not create it. This is our problem, right? So build runner.
Build? I think a pub build runner. No.
Run was missing. Flutter pub run build runner build. Okay, in the meantime, while this is running, I would like to do something bad. I would like to go to my home screen. In development, we have the fantastic Flutter project somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that
You saw
at
it?
the end. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. I will rename that. So, and now I think it will not ask for that, hopefully. So this is still running here. And in the meantime, I can check Flutter itself if it's still running. Still can't switch your local changes. Dev benchmark, integration test, Flutter driver, pub spec down, Flutter gallery.
The Umbra said manually delete the part generated file without comments.
The problem is I think I deleted them already. So the script worked already. So they are deleted, as you can see here.
Yeah.
But the problem is now that we can't run Flutter.
Or is it some dependency issue? No idea what's going on here, Max, in the local.
Let me quickly check. So
Okay.
it takes the right Flutter version. That's all right. So this is the right part. So I don't really understand where it comes from. In the worst case, we really have to reinstall Flutter. I don't know where this problem comes now from.
Connect device. So
Yeah,
actually, the
that's
Flutter
alright.
doctor is everything alright.
What do you want to do?
just go to terminal
Okay.
into the local. It's still running.
I think the problem is really that we are on the wrong
But
channel.
it's completed actually.
No,
Or?
no, there's nothing completed. It just deleted our files, so it doesn't recreate the new files, you know?
Okay.
So that is our problem at the moment. So what we will do now is we reinstall our Flutter. Because, sorry for that, I know it's a bit unlucky, but if it's broken, we have to fix it, right?
If we have a part file created, if I'm changing something in that part already, then if this problem comes sometimes.
Or what I could do is I could make Flutter
Okay.
clean first before I do something very bad. Maybe that helps.
Strange stuff.
Huh, I never had this issue before. I'm very sorry for that. So I really
We can
will
also
do that now.
Max, you can also Google that.
Yeah, you can.
Google it first before us. Its solution is the same. What's going on? If we have a part file created, if I am changing something in that part already, then if this problem comes sometimes.
Yeah, but this problem looks very weird. This has nothing to do with actually the build runner or anything. It is just a problem with the overwritten by checkout. It's something completely different. At least this is what I assume, so... And Flutter maybe?
What are we doing today? We wanted actually to add the dominant color to our Hive database, but at the moment we have completely other problems that our Flutter runs somehow crazy.
So go to your Flutter home directory. Okay, so you see we can do that. I will increase the font size here a little bit. So let's check that out. So we go to not to development, to tools, where we have our Flutter working. So this is our work part, right?
Okay.
So what I will do now is exactly this. So we make git out checkout dot. Let's see what happens. Updated 500 paths from the index. Fantastic. So something happened. And after that, we make a hard reset. Remove, blah, blah, blah. All right. So now if I make Flutter channel stable. You see, I fixed it. I broke everything, but now I fixed it. So it
Yeah,
works.
but still, the rounded delete button is not there. You're absolutely right, Flutter is. And I promise you, I will fix it on Saturday.
You do?
I will do that. For
On
sure.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. So we
Hey,
have
come
already
on. Flutter has
streamed-
asked me so often. And I just want to act so that it's not so important. I never forget it. I know. And this is the reason why you ask me always. It's perfect. We will do that on Saturday.
So we fixed Flutter.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's
It's fine.
so whenever you get a problem with Flutter and you change somehow files in it, so I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
But before you delete the whole Flutter,
Exactly, you execute git checkout dot and git reset. You make a good point because I tell you that so often. Don't delete everything.
I
repair it.
think I deleted the whole Android Studio last time. that was so bad.
horrible.
That was so bad. I could have fixed some stuff, and I thought the best solution would be to delete the whole Android Studio and install it again. And I just worked 2 days, 1 day, I don't know how long. That was long enough.
Yeah, the problem is in Mac, if you just delete everything and you don't delete it clean, then you have everywhere like Android installed and you have this installed, but nothing is connected anymore. And then at the end, you come up with this huge mess and you should just reinstall the whole Mac at the end, just wipe it.
Yeah.
So it took us, I think, 3 days or something.
So,
right?
to be honest, I'm very proud that I prevent you from deleting and install it again. I just called Android Studio again by deleting it. Even then, the problem came up.
All right. Ion versus Bayern. Oh, I have no idea about football. Sorry for that.
You guys
We
watch
can check
football?
that. Jeez, no.
No,
Not at all.
sorry for that. Today we took a good lesson from you. To be honest, we are very happy when we learn something from each other.
When you hot reload, no.
Okay, what's going on, Max? What's the question? Do you have an issue where provider reset all field value in the model that extends change notifier when you hot reload? If so, how to fix this issue? Have you ever done?
If you have the problem that it really resets all the fields whenever you... Thank you, Stefan, once more for your donation. Sorry, that was first. Now to your question, Lim Hyun. I think if you really reset all the time your change notifiers or the model inside of the change notifier, that could be the reason. If you initialize it somewhere in an init state or anywhere else, then sometimes you override it, you recreate always the class. So it could be that the hot reload triggers a rebuild of the parent of it, and with that you lose always the values inside.
Oh, did not generate any part of the freeze package.
You did not. So how do you use it then? Because I think freeze works also with a generator, or
I
you
thought
use
the
it?
same, yeah.
So many good questions today. Fantastic.
Oh, yesterday I read the article from Flutterist about his journey to becoming a Flutter developer and software engineer.
Really? I didn't have a chance yet, so...
Yeah, it's so cool. You can be really proud of yourself, Flutterist.
I think he was a sales manager before,
yeah.
Right? This is the only thing that I know. Aww. Poor Stefan, he's always worked from his wife. You know, like me. Max make live stream, Max make videos. Here's your script, go for it.
Yeah.
Asynchronous calls. What do you want to know about asynchronous calls?
Do you guys have any video about asynchronous calls?
Look at that. I destroyed everything in Flutter like it looks.
Yeah. Upgrading engine.
Yeah, could take a while.
God. Oh my goodness.
Okay, but that means we really had a problem with Flutter, right?
The question is if we can make just
go further and work?
to... No. Oh no.
The problem is we don't have Flutter installed at the moment.
Oh,
so
but I'm thinking about if we can continue with my laptop.
Yeah, well, if you hijack our stream now somehow, then go for it.
It does work.
I
Hit like from X.
Oh yeah, right. I don't see that at the moment. Thank you, Nickel, for remembering. Let's check that out. So we have at the moment 12 viewer and we have 6 likes. We have to change that.
Stefan is asking, did you manage it? Is Flutter broken?
Flutter was broken on my machine, yes, but I think it was Picnic, you know, problem in chair, not in computer.
Yeah.
So I was here and I changed maybe some files inside of the Flutter project. I don't really know how, but now I had to reset everything somehow, and now it takes a while to download everything.
Can you show us again which commands did you execute? Do you
oh
have
yeah,
still
sure,
the...
with pleasure.
So
I
that
have
we
that
can...
open. So this is that one. I can maybe share that.
Yeah, maybe it would be
so
helpful for someone else.
Share.
That was not this one.
No, it was this one. It was so small that I couldn't find it. So let's share that. 10 likes. Thank you, everyone. I like you too. So that's always good if you have these quick commands. And thank you, Mahtab, that you kept me from destroying everything. Oh, wow.
Oh, did you release another blog post? It's cool.
You had a week of problems. Wow. All right. I think the newest upgrade, there are also some new, how do you call it? Hot fixes for Flutter, right? So there is now a version 120.1 or 2 even.
2.
Where some fixes for the date picker and time picker are inside, which is pretty amazing. But you will hear more about that on Friday, of course.
I will for sure check your new article, Flutterist, with pleasure.
Okay, welcome to Flutter. So let's make the good old Flutter Doctor. And let's see if it's now happy. We are on stable. And here we are ready. So now let's check it out. If we can run our Flutter pub. Run build runner.
How about
build.
uptest?
No,
Yeah.
I want to know if I can remember it. So what is that? No Dart configured. Okay, this is now unfortunate. So where's that coming from? So it knows where it is. It is stable. That's fine.
What's the
Starting
problem?
with Dart 2.7, the package config JSON file
JSON.
configures resolution of package.
Import.
pubget to generate it. Okay, let's try pubget.
Flutter pubget.
Boom.
It's not enough.
What is now? Flutter pubget.
Flutter pubget. Thank you, Mahtab. Mahtab. Sorry, it's fine. No worries.
It's a killer name. I think
I
it's so difficult.
have the same feeling somehow. Also here in Germany, everyone said everything else instead of Mahtab. So
Really? I think the
Martha
common name
is the
Martha.
yeah, the Martha is most the common name.
It's always nice if I introduce you somewhere and my workmates, and then I say, "Hey, this is Mahtab." Martha? That's a very German name. Nope. So completed. You see, seconds after we are on stable channel, it works immediately. So something to remember, or maybe I promised too much already.
Is Mahtab a German name? No, it's not a German name. It's a Persian name.
Is it?
It is.
Makes sense. And
Yeah.
what does it mean?
Moonlight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is more moonshine, right? And this would be
Moonshine,
alcohol.
yeah. Mata,
Okay.
Mata.
But
Yeah.
as you can see, now we are running all through, right? We cached everything. We have the dependencies now down, and it created our stuff. So if we close that off, we see that G files are generated.
Finally, amazing, we made it.
So for us, we should remember,
Okay.
if we run build runner, we should be on the stable channel. It's only possible to make that there. So
Okay.
what happens now, because we added this new Hive field,
Yeah.
in the G file, it generated us this nice little field here. So and it is a generator for that. So all of these stuff is getting here written inside from the object, and it can be saved now in our database. And that's all. We don't have to take care of everything else.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So we don't have to take care of the SQL statements or no SQL statements. It's just working out of the box.
Perfect, Max.
Okay, so
So,
we have this color.
This
inside.
is what we wanted to actually achieve, right?
Exactly.
Now,
And
can we check maybe to see if our dominant color really will be added in our Hive database?
Yes,
With a
and
print
we
or
will
something
do
like that?
that directly by testing if the color is changing at the right
Yeah,
position.
okay.
Because what I would like to do is, instead of doing all these calculation here that we did the last time with the set state and everything, we could get rid of that, and we could get even rid of the stateful widget here.
Yeah?
If you don't remember where we are at the moment, I'm switching quickly back to the application to show you, or not. Let's start it up. So we are currently inside of a category. And what we did the last time is we created the possibility, if we click inside, we made an asynchronous call, and after that we called set state at the end.
Yeah.
Whenever we initialize our view. So you can see that here. We have this future void that is getting called when we initialize the view, and after that we call set state.
Yes.
So, and now we can get rid of this part, and I think we can get rid of this part. This is what we need,
Yeah.
and it will be a stateless
Let's
widget.
switch it. Yeah, okay.
We will have a look in a second if it's running up. I made Flutter clean and everything. Yeah.
So,
But it's good, so can we chat a little bit more?
exactly.
So what was the blog post about?
It's about how Flutter is changed his career path and his whole life. And
Right,
how
okay.
lucky and how happy he is at the moment.
Well, who's not lucky with or happy with Flutter? I've seen
Yeah,
today
well-
a tweet. Did you see that with the 5-year-old girl that works with her mother on an
no.
app for trees?
No, what's
I,
going on?
I needed to retweet that because it was amazing.
What was that?
A woman was writing that she writes code with her daughter, and her 5-year-old daughter was sitting on her, working with her together, and they created a new Flutter app together.
Ooh.
And the 5-year-old daughter loved the most hot reload, so you know, everyone loves it. Okay, so if we go here inside, we still have the lag, right?
Yeah.
And we have this color, fantastic. And what we will do now is we remove all this part here, all that part up here, and init state can be gone too. We don't need that anymore. And we change that to a state less widget. Now we get our category. We don't have to execute here anymore widget. And instead of getting the dominant color from anywhere, we get it also from the element here.
Okay.
Why is it not working?
I think you just, dominant image color.
All right. So, but now we still get some errors because we have everywhere these widgets with dot. So what I want to do is now I want to search and replace. So I think that is Command R. Fantastic. So I replace everything with a widget dot to nothing.
Okay. Hot reload is life-saving. Exactly. Native React developer won't be so happy with Flutter, I'm sure.
I talked with 2 React Native developers and they tell me more the opposite. They are really happy with Flutter.
If they change, I think they will be happy.
If they are, if they start to learn it, of course.
What? Oh, yeah, okay, I know.
So, because we get a string, an integer, we have to generate a color out of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I make this wrapper of a color surrounding it. Okay, so if we clicking now on this thing, what will happen?
I would say before you click on that, you should do a hot restart because we changed the stateless widget to a stateful widget, and I hope that it will be calculated now and will appear right away, right?
It will crash.
It will crash?
Yeah, because we don't have a default color. There is nothing inside, right? Because we created it beforehand and we create this color inside of it. So it will crash. We will have a problem here because it's getting null.
So maybe we should use a Turner operator or something like that, that we have a default color somehow.
Exactly. Right? So I will use the 2 question marks to say if it is null, we use a default color just in case, so we can keep our old ones. Or if the user, if something has broken the palette color, at least we show a color.
Okay.
So a default color that the app is not crashing. But we will see that in a second. So I click here. Crash. And beautiful crash, right? With animation.
Yeah,
fantastic.
that was quite fancy.
Yeah, so we are on that part here, and what we want to do is we make here a question mark, and add another color. So, and I give it, for example, blue. The problem is we don't know the color of blue, so I take 0xFF, and then we can give any color for now inside.
Animate, crash, love it. Yeah, exactly.
So, and as you can see already, it directly works, and we show the default color of this blue.
This is because at the moment when we add the category, we didn't had this.
The calculation has not been done and is not saved in the database.
Okay.
And if everything works well, if we create now a new one, then it should happen. So let's try that. So this is our, how do we call it? Test for animation or something. For animation is wrong, but you know what I mean.
Okay.
So I take this waterfall here, press submit. You see the app gets janky for a second. So this could be done with a loading spinner in that case, or we could just move back and let it run in a isolate, which is maybe even the better solution. But now if we navigate here inside, it is automatically done. And you see the color is different. So if I select this one, this is like blue.
Yeah.
And this here is black or dark. Yeah. And that comes from the dominant color of the image, because it is a dark image.
Hello, AKS.
Hey, AKS, nice to see you. Oh, now we get design questions.
Yeah?
Yeah, AKS is a very good designer, I think. So he has a lot of ideas how we can improve stuff.
This is great. So we can improve our app.
So for example, I see immediately that there are 2 lines and it looks ugly, but this is something else. So let's see what we can do.
But Max, that was great. It's really better now.
I remove that because 2 lines, I don't like that. Never have something that don't work. So, and what do you like? Sorry?
I like how smooth everything happened now.
So, and what I want to see is, I forgot, unfortunately, so you see, I made a presentation for background tasks and Flutter and isolates, and I forgot my own command that takes the possibilities there, and I don't know if it was combined or anything, so I will quickly jump into my YouTube channel.
No Flutterists. Don't be confused. That was not a delete button.
So let's search. I think I have it somewhere with the background task when I learned it. I'm sorry, so I would quickly...
You can search.
The problem is I don't know the word that I search. You know, I searched the method, and I know that I made a video for that, but I don't remember the name of this stuff. Oh god, no, that is.
How about if you just say a background color?
It's not the color. It's the background.
That's background task.
Maybe someone of you knows it. If you want to create an isolate in Flutter, how is the name for that? There are cool names for that. Okay, let's check. Flutter, isolate. This is that. Parse JSON in the background. I think there we find something. So we have this fetch, nodes, JSON, create, convert,
So,
response.
what do you want to do, Max, now?
I want to, you know that we have this jank inside of our app. So we create a new one,
Yeah.
new category. And if I add now here an image, right? Everything works fine, but as soon as I click submit, it looks very weird. Let's check that out. So, the app is really getting stuck for a second. So
Yeah.
we don't show a loading spinner. We don't, and even if we would show a loading spinner, it would be stopping in the turnover because the frame is not getting ready.
Ah, okay.
Because we wait for something to happen. And
I wanted to say that at the beginning, just add a loading spinner. But if you assume that it doesn't work,
it's just my assumption. That's true. So, that's
oh my
bad.
goodness.
But the color is still working. I'm really happy with this solution,
Yeah.
to be honest. I like that a lot. We should do that more often. So, and now the problem is that we have that stuff really blocks the rendering of, of the app. So it would be fantastic if we would have an isolate, and it is compute. And with compute, we have the possibility to put it in a whole own thread. So if you remember maybe Java development, you can have things that are running directly parallel.
Okay.
And to make that possible in Dart, because Dart is a single threaded language, we only have one thread at a time.
Okay.
So the idea is that we create a whole new Dart instance for itself with this isolate, with own RAM, with own memory, with own garbage collection and everything. And there inside, we calculate this big task.
So that means this task will be calculated in the background.
Exactly.
And everything else will just
Run
continue as
before.
smoothly.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
At least this is my hope, right? So.
Okay. Oh, isolate.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is also always how I react of that.
It sounds very dangerous or something, but actually it's not. It's very easy to use in Flutter, thanks to this nice function called compute. So, and what we want to do, I hope it works like I hope that it works like I think about it.
Isolate. I think this is a favorite subject for Max.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's just
okay. Let's see how this works.
First, we need a function for computes, right? So if you check here, for example, we have parse photos. And parse photos is a function. So if we search for parse photos, somewhere here, we will see this is a method that is called, and inside of it, something long running happens, right? So we will do the same, but we call our thing, for example, save category.
Okay.
So, and to make it possible to give something inside, right, we need parameters.
Yeah.
But we don't really call this function. So our second possibility here of this compute function is anything. It's a variable or it's a value or something that we can pass into it.
Okay, what is the response here?
The response will be whatever we make as a response. So if we check the parse photos, it will return us a list of photos.
Ah, yeah, okay. So the body of that gonna be
exactly.
Or not?
So we actually, or I don't know if it works like that already. So it's just a try for me. So save category is a bad name. I see right now that this already is a name. So what we want to do is, I don't know a better name at the moment. So save category.
It's fine, Max, for now.
No, it's not, because it's the same name.
Ah, yeah, okay.
So I need something else. Save category in Hive or something.
Okay.
So this is our method name. And we would create a new method up here for now with that. And like that. So, and something happens here inside, right? At the moment, we don't need a parameter for that. Now this complains because the argument type function can't be assigned to a parameter type of string. So this guy gets a string at the moment. So that means up here we have a string. So something like that.
Okay.
I know, AKS, I really try to bring that to Twitch, but it's not that easy actually. The problem is I want to make that broad public, but it's not that easy. Somehow always Streamlabs crashes when I try to do that. So I'm not sure if my bandwidth is too small or I don't know. We have to test that a bit. Maybe I get there a solution that we have that also on Twitch. That's true. StreamYard, yes, but then I don't have the benefits of all the other things from Streamlabs. Okay, so what I would like to have is I want to actually just have this dominant color here inside. And let's see if I can have that. So all these parts coming here inside. And now we need this image byte array, which comes from here. And I parse this here inside. And instead of this, I get this image byte array. Voila. So now we await here.
So we need the async.
Yes. And we return this dominant color, I would say. Or makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
So. And this color is a color.
It's an integer, Max. No.
Here it is still an integer, but you are right. What we could do is we can pass the value and say return an integer.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is now we can await for that and say something like dominant color equals to. And this is
integer again.
Int. Fantastic. And now we can remove the value down here. And with that, we have created our first compute function. So this is completely a separate part that happens. And after that, as soon as we receive our information, we create the category. So I don't know if this helps us a lot, but we will see.
Okay, let's see. And I think I read in the meanwhile a question. Is isolates can slow down performance in any way? I think actually the isolates are there to improve the performance, isn't it?
Actually, yes. But now you see, at least we don't get directly reverted to our screen. It could be that it's even crashed at that process in the meantime.
Okay.
So let's see in the view. Oh yeah, we crashed. So what happens here? So object is a closure, save category in Hive. Illegal argument in isolate message. Object is a closure. So it complains about that the object is a closure. So I'm.
And what is the isolate spawn? I know that you had something with that.
Exactly. So the thing is, what we do with a compute is it tries to create us a new isolate, right?
Okay.
This happens with isolate.spawn.
Ah, yeah,
so it creates us this new instance of itself. And what I'm doing here is it complains that something is a closure. So what I think is I have to make that static.
What is a closure, Max?
A closure is something that is executable.
Okay.
So like a function or something like that. So let's have a look if this works now better. This has reloaded. Okay, I press another, give it a category name like Stefan. Give it 2A, I think that's more accurate. Fantastic. So you are now our category and the app crashes. Fantastic. Wow. So what happens here?
Performing hot reload. Synchronize libraries.
You know what? We try it again. Yeah, Stefan crashed the app. You took us with you. Oh. It's getting warmer again, right?
Yeah.
So time for storm. I think we had the last couple of days also some storm. And yeah, let's see. So, you know, if you start something during a live stream because you think it's a fantastic idea, like isolates and everything, and after that nothing works, you get a little bit nervous, a bit shaky. This is how I am at the moment.
Don't worry, Max.
I should know this topic, you know?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, but now we are here. Let's oh, it actually created it.
Is it a new category? That's what Stefan.
Ah, yeah, true. Unlucky.
But
I
good
was
try.
so happy.
But good try, man.
Okay, let's try it again. So,
Stefan?
what do we take this time? Sasha.
Stefan. Okay.
Why is always Stefan the one who can crash our
Yep.
We have to bring some some different people inside. Make that purple, we submit, and we crash again, we get an error. Okay. So, tried calling image cache, was called on null. Image cache was called on null.
What happened? I missed this part. I need an update, please. So, just a brief update is that we actually managed to add the dominant color in our Hive database, and what we are at the moment doing is to use the compute function or the isolate to run this calculation of the dominant color in the background, so that we can improve our performance a little bit more. And now we are struggling with the compute.
Exactly, Mahtab. So what I think is we
What do you
can't
think, Max?
create up. So what I think is we cannot create up here the widget that I wanted to use. Now I try to pass down an image itself. So the image itself, and with that we could compute it maybe. Couldn't infer type parameter q. Try to infer file for q, which doesn't work. Parameter callback declared future, but argument is. Alright, so I don't get the information here. Let's change the name here, like image provider, for example.
Max, don't get stressed. Do you want to have a sip of water? Don't feel any pressure. We are all here to help you. So, I don't know much about compute.
Image is a file, not an image. Okay, so
Okay.
let's change that to a file. And what do you want from image? So
from image, I think doesn't get a file, right?
this wants to have an image actually. File, image provider.
I think it's the image at memory max, isn't it?
No, because we don't turn it is before we turn that to an
okay.
I think.
The argument type image value.
Okay, so let's create some variable for that. The argument type image, where image is defined in, can't be assigned to a parameter type image, where image is defined in. This is a painting dart, and this comes from image.dart. Okay, so I imported the wrong image file. So if we check it, somewhere I got this image from, right? This image file. And it seems that I take the wrong one. I take it from somewhere from Dart, but he wants it from painting actually.
Can you play?
Okay.
How did you understand it?
All
so
right.
I would not understand it.
So there is an
so
error message, right? It tells us the argument type image, where image is defined in somewhere. You see it is from package, Flutter, lib source, image, Dart. Can't be assigned to the parameter type image, where image is defined in. And then we get a different path, which says we get it from bin cache lib UI painting.dart.
Okay, so
I check right now where it comes it from. I don't know if it's there or. So what is the file here? That's image.dart from widgets packages. Bless you.
sorry guys.
So where does it come from? Or better,
Image
what I
picker,
can do is
foundation.
I can import painting.dart as painting. Or better, painting. And then I just take this one when I declare it.
Bless you. Thank you. I will come back right now.
All right. Oh, I think I made a lot of mistakes here right now. Let me check. So I think that makes no sense here. That is wrong, that is wrong. And I think I get too confused at the moment. So let's check and go one step back before we change everything that we did. This one worked, right? So we bring that back. uint 8list from the image. So this is our memory. This comes into that place, and here we have from image provider. Here we need actually a memory image from this memory part. Oops. Okay, now our save category is green again and it runs, but we get an error message whenever we execute it. So if we press submit, with an, I go back and forth again because I think it crashes here. No.
It doesn't work now.
I don't know what happens. I'll make a hot reload in that case. So let's go back here to the plus icon. get a new photo. This one. Press submit. Nothing works. Okay. The image key, image provider, raw receive port info. Palette generator from image provider.
Image
cache was called on null.
Where does this image cache call?
In the image provider .dart, image provider painting. The problem is nothing of that is from us, right? So it seems that it's somewhere from the bottom, right? So most likely it happens in add category provider palette generator. So here this line fails. Image provider resolve image category. Okay.
This is also not from us.
Yeah, that's true, but it is what we call, right? We call this palette generator. So as you see in the add category provider, which is from us, this part here is failing at the moment. So somehow he can't generate that stuff. So let me bring that memory image one level up, just in case.
Do you want maybe to print it to see?
That's exactly what I would like to do.
Yeah.
Print memory.
Image?
No, I just want to print the memory first, and after that the image maybe. And then let's check out what happens. It's now a little bit trial and error, as always, you know me. I just have to press hard enough.
Okay.
So submit is still crashing, which is fine because we didn't change actually anything. So did we get something? So we get a lot of an uint8 list, right? But somehow image cache was tried to be called on null.
We print but two things.
Yeah.
The image and
the element itself. So you find that here. So it creates actually the image, that works fine, but somehow the getter image cache was called on null. So I think we get a problem with, what I could imagine is that this palette generator doesn't work well with isolates. Maybe it needs Flutter to get running, you know, because an isolate is just a Dart instance. It doesn't really has access to all the Flutter specifics. So if this is a package that is only running in Flutter, we get some issues. So what I will try, and most likely this will solve our problem. So if we get rid of the compute function here, we already did that, right? So it works here in that case. So that's a bit sad, but maybe this is how we should do it. We don't return, of course. We get this dominant color, which is an int of the dominant color. And this is not the memory image, we can just pass this inside. Why is it not working? Can't be assigned to image provider. Yeah, sure. So we need a memory image. But this is something that you always have to keep in mind, that the isolates are not having the full capabilities of Flutter. So let's, well, this will work now, of course.
And I think after we check it again, we should at first commit it.
We didn't fix anything, so why should we commit it?
We fixed already. We now add the dominant color to our Hive database.
That is true.
And it works. Okay, we couldn't fix probably the
full performance problem.
The full performance problem, such as compute and the isolates. But actually, we are one step further.
True. Okay, so let's do that. Is it like we want to have it, or do we want to maybe make a quick recap if we need all of that? So we get the image byte array. This is necessary to save it later, right? We get the dominant image color, which is fair. I think here we could also rename it also to dominant image color.
Okay.
It's just a better name for that. So, and actually, because a lot happens here, I would like to take this part out still. Not as an isolate, but still I would like to take that as a specific function somewhere here.
Okay.
So I would create a method for that, which is private. Get dominant color from image. Zack.
Get dominant color, image color.
Or better, yeah. Get dominant. Cool. And we give an image byte array inside. So this here is actually the byte array or image byte array, which is a fantastic name. And with that, this stuff is away from our code, and this up here is way more readable, right?
Ah, yeah, okay,
so
I
it's
see.
just one line less, and it's like a bit cleaner. Okay, so we get this dominant image color. So maybe, and I think we will do that in the future, is creating up here a boolean for loading. Then we have that loading spinner in place, and unfortunately we couldn't work with compute. I thought it was the perfect example for something like that, but if it is really dependent on Flutter, we get a problem here. The category already exists, that's a good error message, so give more. Yeah. But it's still super smooth.
This is super smooth,
okay.
yeah. So,
sorry guys,
let's commit.
For my small excursion for what was it? Compute function.
Isolate and compute function.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we learned something. Okay, so what have we done? We added the hive field with the dominant color, right, as an integer. We made that here possible. We created everything. Oh, we had made we made a poll, I think, where we wanted to remove the G files from our repository, but we will do that later. Then here we added a lot of stuff. We have now that function that get dominant color. We added here the function itself that returns us the integer, and that's it for here. And I see right now that we have unused imports up here, which we can remove. So for that, I will jump into category screen, and we see up here, don't need that anymore. Oh. Cool. And back to our commit. Category screen, and that's probably it, right? So we have that title, which is the category name, and the color. I think I just added a comma. No, the default color here inside. That's good, and this is not necessary.
Did you add some minor fixes?
No, but I think the problem that happened here was when this is okay. We ignore that deprecation at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should just change your comment.
Yeah, what I would like to do is still one oh no, we don't do that in this commit, that's right. So what should I change? Yeah.
Add dominant color to Hive or to the database.
Our database. All right, so we commit and we push the whole thing.
Yeah. Go for it, because I think I thought that last time I just forget to push everything. No.
Everything is there. What I want to do quickly is, as always at this point, we could maybe share our repository with you guys.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
So, then you have also quicker access to everything and can have a look and compare whatever we have done here. So,
okay.
Next step, what I would like to do is now with all that versioning stuff, sorry, I have to bring my food up. So with that whole versioning stuff and pubspec.log and whatever, we would like to check if our dependencies are outdated in the meanwhile.
Okay.
Because we got a new version of Flutter, it would make sense that all the packages also get some updates.
Okay.
And if we press pub outdated or run the command flutter pub outdated, we get this dependency list here. And as you see, for example, Hive got a new update to 143. So, and what we can do is we could fix the version here and upgrade it more or less.
If we just click on the pub upgrade, it's happened
that will work
right?
now for all that has this circumflex in front of it. So it was French. I hope everyone knows that. This is that head. Then it will update to the newest version that it allows it to.
Okay.
If we make it explicit, we write it down, it will be for everyone.
Okay.
So, all up to date. Then we have some dev dependencies that getting up, like for example, build runner. That is also something that I would recommend to update to the users. But I see here resolvable is 0. That's interesting. So it seems something is dependent on that and can't be upgraded. Let's check that out if this is really the case. Then we have meta. I think that is something that is... So another package is depending... So a package that we are depending on depends on The meta package. So this is the called transitive dependencies.
Okay.
And then we have also more dev dependencies. That means all these dev dependencies are dependent on other dev dependencies.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Stefan. Yep, I have to put them also from this morning inside. Okay, so pubget, just in case. And now we have a resolve error here. It depends on build runner C1.10.2, which requires SDK version, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so which means we can't upgrade the build runner version at the moment. So we stick here with the 1.10.0.
Max, how does it work in the...
More problems. What is that?
Okay.
Pedantic. Okay, so get that back to 0. But yeah.
How does it work, I would say, in the real software world, software development? Do you normally update the dependencies, or do you leave them as they are?
You would leave them as they are. What happens is you would work with that circumflex here, and whenever you install with Flutter something, you automatically take the next resolvable version.
Okay.
It is very important to keep in mind that if you have a programming team, which we don't have, right? At the moment we are like 20 people and we are all working on one code base together in master. So I don't have to make sure that everyone else can work or that the build pipeline don't break.
Okay.
It is different if you are working in a big company or something like that, because there maybe your build pipeline is dependent on specific values, right? For example, if you are working with a CDN, that would mean that you push somewhere all the dependencies in a shared location where all of them are downloaded and secure for your company. And that means whenever you download these dependencies, you don't get them from the internet, you get them from this archive of this
thing. From somewhere they located, or?
Exactly. So that doesn't mean that wouldn't work anymore. It could take it still from the internet, but you can't be sure. And that's why this versioning update is always very carefully done in a real world application. So because if you change here a number, it doesn't only affect your computer. It affects all the computers of your software development team. It affects the build pipeline in the worst case. It can affect the production, because if you get a bug during the upgrade or something looks just minorly different, it could be that all the tests are failing, and so on and so on. So be careful with servers, upgrades of versions. So as long as it's just the last number that upgrades, everything should be fine, because they are called minor version changes. So that happens just underneath the hood when nobody sees it. The next level is already a little bit more major, so still okay. It wouldn't break anything, but it is some huge changes that needed to be done. And the first is a major version change. That would mean that really there are breaking changes. After that, maybe your application is not running anymore.
Okay, which means if I, for example, update my dependencies and I check on my application and everything works fine, there's for sure, for example, my colleagues and other colleagues which are also working on this project and maybe have different forks. So I can check their forks and their updates. So probably it works for me, but not for everyone else, right?
For example, yes. But this is usually not the biggest problem, because as soon as you push them here inside in the pubspec.yaml, they have to take the newest version of this pubspec.yaml, right?
Okay.
And if they have now seeded, they have to do pub.get, right?
Yeah.
So Flutter pubget. And with that, they receive also the newest version.
Okay. So that means if the whole team decided for such a minor changes, the whole project should be tested again, and everything should be
especially for
checked.
The major changes. I think that's why it's also for my customers it was more web related, less Flutter related. And in web related, it's like if you have a major upgrade from React or Angular or something like that, it was really a weeks-long project. That was really like 3 weeks where just this upgrade has been done, because all the testing, everything needed to look the same, all network calls has to be working, all of that stuff. And if they just made one change in like a broken change or breaking change that really was everywhere in the app, we needed to work on all these different places, right? That takes a while to work on.
Interesting. Thank you, Max.
Yeah, so Stefan also says it.
Interesting, thanks.
Okay, so fantastic. I'm always talking so much, but...
It's good. You share your experience with us. They hope that they are not boring question for everyone else. Perfect.
Okay. So, what do we have? We have our application. We have that nice little animation. We have the stuff on top of that. So there's nothing else to do. The app is working, right? Done.
Yeah. How about if we add now really a spinner?
A spinner?
Yeah.
So when we click here on the add category, you want to have a loading spinner. Okay, let us think about it. So do we want to have the boring circular loading spinner, or do we want to have something else? Do you have any recommendations, something that you would like to see?
So this is actually the question. This is now an extra wish from me. We can do a load a boring spinner. We can add maybe from Lotify a cool animation for the spinner, or we can continue.
Oh, splash screen is also
splash screen also. Or we can continue to implement our whole list at recipe list. Take a sauce.
Could take your profile picture and turn it all the time. Like
Paul.
All right.
So I'm on the way.
Do you want to make it? All right.
Or do you have it open?
Of course.
No, it's right. I will do it.
Always completely organized. But in the meantime, I can maybe show you something cool, because there is also a package called loading. And what I like about, or is it loading? Wait. Loading animation. Nope. Or there is a package that has really fancy loading spinners in all different kinds and shapes, and I just forgot how the name was. Loading GIFs, loading more list, lazy loading. Okay. Spinner input, Flutter time picker, circular spinner, widget spinner. Spinners, really? Huh. Loading spinner widget. No, not widget. Loading spinners Flutter package. Let's see if we find something. Spin kit. Ah, yeah, here we go. So as you can see, we have a multitude of different loading spinners that we can use. And the benefit of that is it is just one line of code, because all of them, as far as I know, are just different widgets that we can use. Was that a car? Yeah, I think so, because we have the window again open, but it's super hot. So here you have the, oh no, that doesn't help you. Let's get this plugin from India, most likely. Could be. Is it? Let's give it a like. So yeah, the spin kit has all the different spinners that we can use, like cube, circle, free bounce, chasing, and this is really cool. I used it in the splash screen. Well, in your splash screen, Flutterist, or in our splash screen, we want to have your logo, right? So if I'm not wrong, we still have that here somewhere. So here we go. And what I would like to do in the splash screen is showing that and making it slowly bigger. I don't know if you know the Stadia loading part, but if you open up an app there, it has like this animation, like it's going up a little bit. So I would like to have this black part here getting bigger in the meantime, and the blue or purple part stick like it is on the bottom. Oh wow, new people! Hey everyone! I just thought of bean. What is a bean? Like Java bean? No. Or bean of the package. Is there a bean package? Hey Oche, nice to see you. Bean factory. Okay. Nah. Okay, so we could use these loading spinners. You have the next task, right?
Yeah.
Boring spinner, Lottie spinner, or recipe list?
Oh, I just ignore your spinner.
Okay, so
sorry for that.
Boring or not so boring spinner. Mr. Bean. He's
I
great.
hope that I did everything right. Yeah, it's
you
fine.
did
You
everything
understand.
right.
You understand what I mean. Boring spinner, everything is
No,
right.
no. Okay, so could you change boring? Oh, I can do that also.
Should I change the boring
So
spinner
please
too?
vote. We have 3 different votes. Let's call it exclamation mark vote boring spinner, exclamation mark vote Lottie spinner, exclamation mark vote recipe list. Just to give
Let's
us some
see.
numbers that we know
So
what we are.
actually, we
to
can
work
also
next.
go for the loading. This is a package, Max.
This is a
picture?
package, yes, absolutely. It's called Spin Kit.
Okay.
That would be boring spinner if someone asks. And then we can do directly the next voting because we need to know which spinner we should take.
Okay.
So 1 is for boring spinner. 2,
Boring spinner.
recipe list. Oh, recipe list would be also good. I think because you made it extra difficult. Oh no, it was taken. Interesting. Very
What
good
was
test.
taken?
Thank you, Nico. The recipe list was taken even though that I thought it is case sensitive, you know, because recipe list is the big L. You made
Yeah,
it in
camel
a
case?
camel case.
Yeah.
And he answered with a small L,
Ew.
which automatically worked and understood. So I'm happy with
Perfect.
that. Boring spinner, boring spinner, boring spinner. We have a lot of boring spinners.
Okay, let's talk about which spinner we should take in the meanwhile.
Okay. So what would be a good spinner?
I like the fading cube.
This guy?
Yeah.
I think it could work here pretty well inside, right? But actually we don't really have cubes, right? Most of them are rounded edges.
Oh yeah, okay.
And with that cubic, it would be more if our whole app would be this cubic-like, if this makes sense.
Okay.
So we have a little bit more roundish part. I think even the cube grid would work better. This is too much, I think.
Yeah, I think so. What I can also imagine is the wandering cubes or the fading 4. I like it also.
The fading 4?
Yeah, this one.
This guy
yeah.
would be round and fading.
So guys, we have till now just four votes.
Yep, we just let it run 1 more minute, I think, and then we
Yeah.
can decide what we are doing with it. Yep.
And maybe what we can also... Okay, so if we say we want to have the boring spinner, Max, should we stay with the... Because I would like to create the next poll, maybe? Oh, we got a new subscriber.
Yeah, we got a new subscriber. Hey there.
Hello, thank you for subscribing.
So, what was your point?
So, I wanted just to talk about which spinner should they take, and after that create directly a new poll.
Okay. So I would say fading 4 looks good. So I would take that into account. I don't know, pulls would be also something, but it's maybe too less.
Okay.
Chasing dots, I don't know. I mean, what do you like? I have no idea.
Jeffrey can create a custom shape in this.
In this? Good question, I don't know. Example, can we create a custom shape?
Fading 4 is okay. Yeah, I like it also.
Spin code rotate. I don't think you can create a... I think the most of them are explicit for that you can just use them. So that is the idea a little bit.
I think you can also just use the parameter name.
Yeah, I think that is a collection list. Yeah, so that is just a collection list. Cube grid. What is the idea here? Cube grid. Ah, this guy.
Okay.
This remembers me on an app that I had years ago. I think they used that. I don't know, remember the name, but what we can do is we can implement it in our app, and after that we check which one we like most. Is this good?
But wait a minute. How many? Still
4
votes?
I think most of them are happy with the boring spinners at the moment.
Sorry, who voted for the recipe list?
Hey, Hasnan, yep. As always on Wednesday, we are working hard.
So I will close the vote.
All right.
The poll. And
in the meantime, I will think about how we can implement best a loading spinner. Because what I think in pub.dev, because I'm a pretty lazy person, there is like a loading modal or something like that. Loading overlay. And I think this guy is just putting the loading part in front of it automatically, and we can just wrap the part that we want with this isLoading flag. So we get a state, which is just a boolean.
Max, are you somewhere else now?
No, yeah, well, We
Okay.
create this loading spinner, right? Then we have somewhere in the application a loading spinner.
Yeah.
We have to position it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So my idea was that we have a modal which comes up top of our application or on the screen at the moment
Okay.
and shows the loading spinner whenever we want to show it.
Okay, which means when we go back to our application,
Yep, here we go.
that means after we click on the submit button, this layer gonna be on top of that, or the layer gonna be on top of our dashboard.
Dashboard?
It's gonna be on top of our here.
on top of the add category, because
Okay.
we don't have a loading spinner in the dashboard, right?
Okay.
Because in dashboard we have that nice little how do you call it? Skimmer.
Ah yeah.
Right?
Okay.
With the different colors to get the pictures.
So this means after we click on the submit button, before we navigate somewhere else, we will use the spinner. We'll show the spinner, and after
Exactly.
that.
Yes, because we
Right.
don't navigate back, right? So what do we have here? If you can then make one like the item in the list, that will be good. The one with the two side rounded. Yeah, I know what you mean. So to have that more like this and then a loading spinner would be great, but then we have to really create the whole widget, which I would like to, well, push to another time, because
Yeah.
then we will never get finished with our
Yeah.
app. if we
Let's
start
see
with
how
all
does
this
it
stuff.
work. Maybe we can do it just on the
So
fly.
for us, it would be that we have this flag. So I found I know a package which is loading overlay.
Okay.
And loading overlay does exactly that. It provides us the possibility to push a new widget on top of it. This is now.
Do we need really a new package for that, Max?
We could also use another modal, but I don't know. We could also use an alert or something like that. But this is just an easy and convenient way in this case.
Okay.
You make it in Lottie, yes, or you create just your own widget and create an animation in it, would be also a possibility. So we don't necessarily need a new one, but it is just an option that we can do, right? And for me, because I want to get it done very easily in that
Yeah, go
case,
for it.
I would take that for now. If we figure out that this is not a good solution, we can just still change it. So I add this one, and for now we want to use that Flutter spin kit.
Install it.
Go over, bring it in. We make the pub get. Yeah, the overlay makes it very easy to create these loading spinner parts. So I will commit that stuff by adding spin kit and what is the other one?
Overlay.
Loading overlay. Up. And now in our add category screen that we have here, we would now surround all of that, what is in that part, we would surround that part with this loading spinner, loading dialog, loading overlay is the name. And this overlay has a child, which is inside, right? But it has also this is loading.
Okay, so we need a new variable which we can set it, right?
The state, right?
Yeah.
But now I make that just to true. And if we take a look into our app in the meantime, it is there.
Yeah,
So that's everything for now. So now we want to have a custom spinner, right?
Yeah.
For that, we would have to get a progress indicator. And here we can now use our spin kit. But at the moment it looks like this. And in our spin kit, we can take another one, right? So we have the spin kit square circle. Which one did you like? The fading 4, right?
Yeah.
So let's try that.
Or the
So-
qubit grid, I think
spin
was the
kit.
Nickel set. Or
Cool. Which one now? Sorry.
go at first with the one of them. It's
Okay, let's take the dual ring and then we can decide. So we create that. It needs a color, so let's give it colors.red
for now.
just as a test. And if I'm looking into the app again, it's getting like that color immediately. It works
Yeah,
out of the
okay.
box, right? So for that, yeah, let's take the fading
Fading 4.
4. I think I like them more at the moment. So fading 4. Good. So this would look like that. And so let me think quickly what I want to do. Yes, so now we have a new state, right? We have this true here. And is loading
Exactly.
is a state. And what does it mean? It has to live somewhere. So now the question is, where do we want to have that living?
I would say in our provider.
Correct, but which one?
I would say, okay, it's a good question. Add category screen. And what do we have? We already used the provider here, right?
So we have 3 controllers at the moment, more
category provider.
Add category, add recipe, and app provider. These 3 we have. So which provider would be best suitable for is loading?
I would say for here, add category provider. But what I can imagine is we can use this this loading spinner also, for example, in our add recipe screen or something like that. Therefore, we can also put it in the recipe repo. App provider.
Correct.
Or
I would put it in the app provider because loading is a state for the whole app.
okay.
So wherever we are even in loading or we are not in loading. One of these 2, but we are always having this state somewhere and we want to access that. So I would highly recommend to put that in a global state that we can access from everywhere.
Okay, which means if we are loading, the whole app is blocked.
Correct.
Somehow.
Not blocked, but we could say everywhere where we want to use a loading spin or anything, that we rely on this information here.
Okay.
So that is the important part. So is loading is true, or
actually it's false.
Actually it's false, exactly, because we start the app. And we can say set loading, which is a void function. And set loading is maybe not.
Do we need a setter here?
We need a setter because we want to set if it is loading or not.
So
right?
we can just.
So no, let's create first the function for the setter.
Okay.
So is loading, and what can we create for that? It is if we want to make it true, then
check
we
loading
start
status
loading, maybe.
Or okay.
I don't know if it's just an assumption because we want to do something, right? It's a verb, so we start with loading, would make this one to true. Or we can make it even toggle loading.
Okay.
So and then we just say we make the opposite of is loading. Oops. So.
Okay.
If this makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Do we need here now the add listener?
Notify listeners.
Notify
exactly.
listener. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This we need. Okay, and is loading is of course private because we don't want to set it somewhere else, right? Besides of here. Hep and hep. And now we need a getter function, like this one. And I think we should clean that a little bit up. I like it to have the getters together, and so the function should be above. So this is a creation. Here we have that. And now here we would return a boolean get is loading, which returns us the is loading. It's very loud outside today. Sorry for that. Okay, so with that we receive if the app is in the loading state or not. And we have the possibility to set this loading, right? Wherever we are. So I just organize a little bit because this part should be before, and we put it down here as a function. So we get still some errors, which looks like
I think because
here.
exactly.
Okay, and now here we need to have access to the provider, right?
Yeah.
So that would mean
We need a consumer here, right?
correct. So we use a consumer. I think that's the easiest way. An alternative, because we just need it at this place, would be to use provider of blah blah blah. But I use a consumer because I like it more.
But I think it's better, or?
Why? It's the same.
It's the same?
Yeah, it doesn't change it anything.
Okay.
The only difference is now we have to create a builder. Context, provider, and what is the last thing? A child, I think?
Yeah.
And this returns us this loading. I can just make a fat error. And now we have here provider.isLoading. So with that we lifted the state up into our app provider, and we have now the possibility to set that whenever we want. Am I happy? Well, the toggle is maybe a good idea, but it could lead to problems. Because what happens if someone else from another part of the application, which is not necessarily possible, but what happens if we would call it somehow twice or even 3 times, unfortunate? Then we would show the user like a blinking loading spinner, which would be a bit weird. So instead of toggle, I would call it start loading and stop loading. Because with that we are more explicit with our things that we do. Okay, so if we are start loading and we are already in loading state, we would not return true or false. You know, we
Okay.
would never do something that we did not expect. This is maybe a bit too defensive, a bit too fearless.
Yeah, but I think it's good to think about that.
But I'm just a bit afraid that people who are using these methods later will not understand what exactly happens here.
Okay.
So
now we should also change our getter function, Max.
the better function.
Getter
Why?
function.
The
Down.
getter function is just taking this, is loading, right? So whatever state is inside, it takes always the same value.
Can you show me the getter function? Ah, yeah, okay, so.
Yeah? All right. So we close that off, getting this rid. So, and now we have up here where we depend on this is loading. And because it's currently always false, because the state is always false, we don't see it anymore. But the next step is we want to change that. And whenever we hit the submit button,
We should call that.
exactly, the first thing that we will do inside of this app provider that we receive is actually to directly call app provider.
If the save is successful.
We have to start the loading, right? So start loading. Not when it's successful. We want to directly start loading as soon as we click on the submit button.
So if the user gets some errors, for example, wait. Here we check the we validate our for,
Yep.
and after that,
So what we could do is we take this app provider up here. We take this start loading. So as soon as I click, I start with loading as immediately. I don't think about if something is valid or not. Immediately we start with the loading.
yeah,
And now the
Okay.
second part happens whenever we are finished with our app, with our run here, for example, we stop with the loading.
okay, I see.
Yeah. So now,
I think I see, but do that. I hope.
okay. So and the next part is when we are inside of here, the validate, right? Then we do all of that. We show the snack bar, we navigate and everything. And I think with the navigator.pop, we still have to stop the loading.
Yeah.
Right? So in any case, whatever happens here, in both cases, we stop the loading.
Do we need also at the end of that also?
We have that at the end down here.
Here? Do we need it here also?
Yes, because what would happen if we validate and it would be false?
So
Then
we
all
will stop
this
it
code
here.
would not work. It would directly jump into that line here.
Okay.
So if we validate and we have an error,
Yeah.
then the if part would be false and it would jump into else part.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have an else part, so we
okay.
stop here.
Yeah.
We don't. So, and with that, if we go to the application and I press submit now, you could see very quickly that
Is
it
it?
started to load. Very
it
quickly.
again?
And now it doesn't because the validate is immediately false. It is very short term.
Yeah,
here.
wait.
Okay.
I would like to check.
Mhm.
I don't see.
Okay. But let's check that out if it's working with our long running task.
I saw now.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
It's just very short. Then it
Yeah.
works. So especially with asynchronous functions. So, but we are too fast, right? The saving and everything seems to work very quickly now. I don't know why it is so fast at the moment, but it wants to annoy us a little bit, I think. So what we can do is we delete all that stuff. We delete it. We delete also this part.
What we can do maybe just to show it that it works to use a delay.
Fantastic, good idea. So that means here we start the loading and after that we say a future delayed with a duration of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, it will show now a loading spinner. So let's try that. Loading visible. Or better, we leave it empty, then we can see it also when it is validating. Just to make sure that everyone sees it. Oh, why not?
Yeah, but go for name.
Okay, here it
Ah,
works.
yeah.
Because I added that somewhere else, or no, directly in front of that. We don't have an await.
Okay.
Guys, what do we do here? So this is now something else, I think. It could be even broken. No? It doesn't stop. Okay, let's keep
So.
it. Maybe I found also a bug that we created. That would be actually a good test that we can do. Like, if the loading spinner does it run?
Yeah.
Is that happening?
A unit test, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it would be a good testing case. Maybe we do that the next time. Or no, you have your rounded delete button first.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe inside the function start loading image.
Unpress?
The save category, you mean? Or add category? Yeah, it would be this part, I think.
Because if it's failed and
That
it
just
doesn't
makes no sense. I
validate,
can just put that here.
do you know? But if it's
I don't
failed and it doesn't validate, we don't navigate at all. So
Yeah.
I would say we don't need it there.
But still we do that delay here, right? Or what do you mean, down here? Down here it is absolutely mandatory, because when we are finished with everything, we want to stop the
We
loading.
have, yeah.
The only problem is it jumps right away down here, and that's why we don't see the loading spinner and the waiting at the moment. Let's check it out. So, up. So we ASDF that thing, get some image somewhere. So great, get it, submit, 1, 2, done.
Okay.
So if I press it just like that, 1, 2, done.
Perfect. Okay.
All right.
But actually, we don't need here a loading spinner.
We don't need here a loading
If we
spinner.
don't add anything, I would say, because we get directly the errors, we don't need a loading
You can't be
spinner.
sure that we directly get the error. You assume that we don't see that very quickly. It is so fast we don't see the
Okay.
loading spinner.
Ah,
But
yeah,
it
okay,
makes
because
sense
of
to
the
add it,
delay. Yeah,
because
yeah.
What would happen if, like, for example, Flutter is very slow today. I don't know, don't want to work with us.
Okay.
Or you have a device that is really, really old.
Okay.
And now this old device needs to understand that this form field works correctly. Now it takes a while. It starts
okay.
to run, you know, we are old
Yeah.
people, this is an old device. So if you assume that, then the loading spinner makes even sense for it, for something
Okay.
like that. So that's fine. I think that is no problem.
And at the moment, we have this delay function, therefore we see that.
Exactly.
If we don't have it, we don't want
Correct.
to.
So
But it works. Perfect, Max.
this delay function makes it possible to damage it completely,
Mm-hmm.
actually. I think the hot reload has not triggered yet.
Yeah.
So here it is. So I think that's pretty cool. It's my favorite text. We are old people, and so we needed a long time. And I think my old sums. I think we have a 1+2 here, and even that one is just 5 years old, and that device already cranks like crazy.
Yeah.
You can't run an application of Flutter with 60 FPS. I don't know why it doesn't work. It's amazing.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, this works. We have that. This is amazing. And now we have this loading spinner. And this part would be nearly the same, right? So whenever we want to use that, maybe we want to also get the dominant color of this one, we can use the same behavior. We can even use the same loading spinner.
Yeah.
And with that in mind...
Before we do that, we'll commit it.
Yes. But with that in mind... Sorry, I want to finish that. Because with that in mind, we could also make a new widget that we create just for loading.
Okay.
Where we put this consumer inside called app provider,
Yeah.
and maybe call it even loading provider, that we just create
Okay.
an own provider for the whole loading state.
And we can use it everywhere in our application.
Exactly, and we don't even have to worry about it, because this could be like wrapped in an own widget that we can reuse all over the place.
Okay. Can we extract this widget with the Flutter
No,
inspector?
I don't think so, because it has a builder.
Ah,
But we
okay.
will do that in a second. I think that's a pretty cool solution, and I think a lot of people will enjoy that. So first of all, let's add this spinner that it is there, right? Actually, before we improve it. So
Add the loading spinner.
add a working loading dialog, for example. So
What do you say working?
good question. It's always working. What we
If
do
it doesn't
always
work,
works.
if it
That's
doesn't work, we
so
don't do
true.
that.
We don't commit stuff that don't work. So luckily I got some water here. Sorry. Exactly. So
Perfect.
next chapter. I think that is a very good timestamp. So we have the consumer here with a loading overlay.
Yeah.
And these are widgets, right? We actually, all of this could be done somewhere else. So first of all, what I want to do is I would like to create a new provider. Because I think that loading logic could be extracted somewhere else, right?
Not in the app provider?
Not in the app provider. We could create an own global state that is just related to loading, because the app provider has other logic inside, right? No worries, Stefan. So this is our loading provider. Or actually it is more controller, but that's not so important. So we have that with a loading provider, extends change modifier. We have here a class, voila, and we get this from the app provider. Bring it up here, and we take that part with us.
And we need the method.
Exactly. So these two will come with us. So, all right. So with that, the loading knowledge is now outside of the app provider. The app provider is clean of loading state.
Okay.
But next step. This guy is complaining now, of course, right? Because app provider is not working anymore. It needs a loading provider. Does exactly the same. Everything is fine.
And so now I think we have here rename provider, but I think we have also ordner file, a file which is widgets, and maybe you can create here.
Just
a loading
second.
widget.
I want to fix first the problems that we have here, because app provider is not accessible for that. But we have the loading provider anyway as a consumer, so we can use it directly here. So that, and last is this guy. And this would mean this app provider can go again there where it is necessary inside of this validate. So we only want to access the app provider when it's necessary, right? Which is when the app is validated. Fantastic. What are you doing? Fantastic. All right, so now we have this part. We stop the loading with the loading provider. The loading provider is now all over the place. Fantastic. And now we want to think about how we can extract these widgets here, right? So the idea is that we have on top of this one here a new widget, loading
widget,
for example. So something like that, which keeps our loading state. And inside of that, all of this stuff should be inside. Unfortunately, we can't extract now the consumer or the loading because we get all of the stuff underneath it, right? So for that, I will create a new widget file, loading widget.
Dot.
Yep. Or better, loading modal, right? Because this is what happens. We get this modal, which is coming on top. So something like that. So we have a stateless widget.
So loading modal,
which imports the material app. Voila, done. And what we have here inside is this consumer, and we have everything till the child, right?
Yes.
So going to that loading modal and replacing the container with that stuff. And inside of this child, we get a child.
Okay, which we can pass.
Exactly. So I try to fix whatever I've broken here. So let's see, we have a final widget, which is the child. And
we need a constructor.
Exactly, which I create like this.
The consumer we should
import. Exactly. So we need that from the
loading provider.
This is that. And the provider itself. Fantastic. We get the loading overlay, which is a package. We get the spin kit. Fantastic. And this child is this child.
Do we need it? Widget. No. That should be just child.
It should work. Let me think. Semicolon? No. This one? Up.
Right.
I think there are some stuff missing. So what do we get here? No. I think we need this and then that. No. Let me check. So we have the
just here. Expect what? Okay. And
so
now?
But this doesn't work. So there is a missing part. So we have that loading overlay. This is that perfect. So after that, we have the consumer.
We need
This is return.
another.
This consumer. So exactly, we have to do that.
Yes, and here we need exclamation mark instead.
Perfect. So
Okay.
it was a long build. Okay. So and we convert that not to asynchronous function. I want to convert that to a block body because it looks a bit cleaner. I don't know why, but I like that more. Okay. So we have now a consumer that's always taking the dependency to the loading widget. And what we can do now...
One more? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I fight it with that one. So what we can do now, we keep that stuff and remove all of that. And taking our loading modal. Voila.
Yes.
And here we pass our child inside. Now we get some problems because down here we want to access the loading provider again. But we will do that in a second. But more important are these here. I think we can get rid of some stuff.
We need one more. No? Okay.
I think that's it, yeah.
Okay.
So, and now we need the loading provider here in that onPressed. So how do we get a loading provider? So how do we get a loading provider here in this onPressed method?
Okay, I would say we have it already, the consumer, we have it already in our widget, right?
No, the consumer is not there anymore. If you remember, we moved that into our own loading modal now. So now we don't have access anymore to these parts, like that loading provider here.
Okay. How about if we... I don't know, Max.
Okay, one option is, because we anyway have here a builder,
Okay.
if I see something like that, then that looks like we can change that a little bit. So I will change that to a block at the moment. Still not fixed that, but what we can do now is we can get rid of this builder here anyways, and we could just take this submit button. Let's give me a try. We have this builder here for the access to the scaffold of context.
Yeah.
So, and the benefit now is if we just remove that and also remove some parts of down here, I think too, like so. That should do the trick. Now we can return, instead of having this, we can wrap that here in a consumer. And the consumer is working like a builder. If you remember, it has also a build function.
Yeah.
Now we receive our loading provider and we have a child here. And not actually, we have a builder. And this has a context, it has the loading provider, and it has the child.
Okay.
And then it returns whatever widget we want. This is not necessary anymore. And I think I made a mistake because I wrapped the sized box, which is of course on top of that. Has nothing to do with our builder, so this needs to be here. Yep. So
that means we actually add the consumer in our widget, and now we have also to add it here.
We can, yes.
We should.
We could also access with provider of blah blah blah.
Yeah, okay.
So now I did a mistake somehow. I need this.
Yeah.
Cool. Clean that a little bit up. So. And now we missed everything works, right? Fantastic. Because this consumer needs access, doesn't really has to rebuild. Actually, this is not the best solution, I think. Let me think about it. No, because what happens now, if the loading part has changed, we would rebuild the whole widget here.
Yeah.
But actually we don't need that, right? This part is not necessary on that to rebuild. We actually want to just trigger something inside. So maybe it was not the best solution. So sorry for that. I will revert these changes here.
What do you want to do now?
I want to have my builder back.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I want to initialize this loading provider here. So we have a const or final loading provider, which is now provider.off context listen false, because this is now important. We don't want to rebuild this part if we have if we get the loading part.
Okay, and here we
loading provider, and that's it. And we have now access to our loading part that we created. and we can start it and stop it whenever we want.
We can do something like this, the listen false with consumer, right? We can't do that.
We can't do that. A consumer is exactly the opposite of listen false, right? We want to have that at this place. So let's drink something and read what bitch its Matterhorn has to say.
I was stuck yesterday for 6 hours just to realize I was trying to serialize an enum instance with JSON.encode. 6 hours. I really like the art-oriented tutorial. Like the one about the line waving through text. I need more art tutorials.
Okay, so it's good for Mahtab to know,
yeah.
Right? Or maybe I can also do some code pen challenges. I think we tried to find today anyway a good code pen, and it was not that easy. Oh, important error. Guys, I need to get some votings now in the chat. What is going on? Why do we get an error, and why is it looking so ugly? I know it, and you know it too.
The provider you are trying to read is in a different route.
I have to change something real quickly because I saw something. Your face, Mahtab, is the whole time...
No, I checked it already. This is
on desktop, but I don't know how it looks on mobile, so I put you a little bit up. I think everyone is happy to see your face a bit better. Okay, so what is the error? Do you know that, Mahtab?
I think it's...
So we can read the error.
The provider you are trying to read is a different route. So if you insert a provider inside a route, then other routes will not be able to access that provider. So somehow I think we need multiple provider now, or?
That's a good point. But why? What is the error that we read here? So could not find the correct provider above this consumer. So it seems that this consumer has no access to the real provider.
Okay, did we use also the because the widget which we extracted has a consumer, right?
But read the name. We have a provider called loading provider, right? So if we check here the loading provider, this guy is new, right?
Yeah.
What do we have to do with every provider that we have in the application?
With every provider that we have in application, guys. It is either you didn't create the provider or you didn't provide the type. Is it the type that you miss? I don't think so. You added, right?
So we have the provider, but there is always one important step that we have to do. We have to register our provider in the widget tree.
Yes.
So let's check out our widget tree at the moment. For that, I will open up the Dark DevTools quickly.
Okay.
And then I will show you what I mean. Every provider that we want to access somewhere with a consumer, for example, which just access the providers, want to access something in the widget tree.
Yeah.
So we have here the change notifier provider, app provider. So, and we have down here most likely also other providers depending on where we are, right? So if I'm in a different, we have here, for example, the app provider, a consumer.
Yes.
And this consumer access now actually this widget on top of here.
Okay.
So, do you see here somewhere a loading provider?
No, not yet actually.
And this is exactly our problem. What we want to have is underneath of this My App, we want to have not only an app provider, we want to have also the loading provider because we want to access it from everywhere in our app.
So that means at the moment our application trying to access to app provider and execute
to loading provider.
And it doesn't fit. It can't find it.
Correct.
Okay.
Because it needs that on top. So if we check the main.dart, we see we have this change notifier provider, and this is our global state that we decorate. Because as you can see, the material app down here is everything, right? Every route, everything that we have is not injected at the moment. So what we need to do is exactly, it's not provided or injected. It's not provided to the child actually. Yeah. And now what we need to do is, our provider has this nice little part that we can use a so-called multi-provider.
Yeah.
And this allows us to pass multiple provider instances inside. So I will do that for now and make it gray a little bit. But now we have a list of different providers. And the first provider that we want to provide is this change notifier provider. Notifier, well, I'm bad at writing. Change notifier provider. And this one has a create function, which gets the context and returns an app provider.
Okay.
And this is actually the part when this is executed, this app provider state gets emptied. So everything inside of that is now empty because the object is getting created here. And now we create a second one, which is a change notifier provider with the create function.
And this time the context will create the loading provider.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and what happens now, this providers is one thing, but it has also a child.
And this is gonna be our material app.
I have to think about it, but yes, actually, yeah. So this will be our material app that we have down here. Pass that here inside, and that's that. Now we can remove this part. So if we check now again our dev tools, I will restart real quickly because we changed a lot in our widget tree. Now we have these two parts here where we have two of them created. How to pass value from a provider to another provider. You can do that with a so-called proxy provider. This is a little bit different. But as you can see now, we have now registered both providers with the change notifier provider, where we have an app provider and a loading provider.
Yes.
And these can talk now with each other. And because our loading provider that we need somewhere, most likely on, we reloaded. So let's check the screen here. Jump inside. What do we get here? But a null found at index 0. Okay, so we get a weird error. Loading overlay state, error closing, okay. So this guy was failing somehow. And why? Stacks children must not contain any null objects.
Do you want to open the Do you want to open the run tab, that we can see if we get more information?
Loading overlay state, stacks children, so framework widget, loading overlay .dart. This has somehow a stack that it returns. And what was null? I don't actually know. This has to be somewhere in this loading modal. I think it doesn't be happy that we created an own widget for that. Stacks children must not contain any null values. So this child, could it be that this is empty or null at any point of time?
Should they also check for the with double question mark and set a container if this is the case?
Can do that in a second, yep. Sounds like a valid point. But we have that loading widget, very odd. So you think if we make here a container inside?
For example, just
as a try. Okay, that works actually. So somehow we don't pass the right thing inside. So it takes this container. Just take a look if we make a text here inside. Is it now really showing the text?
Yeah.
So somehow the child here seems to be null. So let's make this one required, just to see if we have that somewhere. And I thought we just use it here, and there is the child. So this guy is getting null.
what is this?
This child? Wait. This is the problem. No, don't do that. So, of course, from this consumer, the child is null, and we made this mistake.
Okay.
So it didn't take the variable that we passed down, it take any variable that we don't want to. Yeah, now it's working.
So good, Max.
Okay,
excellent.
So let's try that. We add here some stuff, we say submit, and the loading spinner is opening up. We have our problem, I think.
Do we have still the delay?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. Do we crash somewhere? Yeah. So unhandled exception. The method read as byte asynchronous was called on null. That's a good point. So there we have another problem. So if this one is null, we get an error, or?
Because you didn't provide any images here.
Yeah, but at the moment we just let it pass through. I thought we would get here an error.
I thought the same.
Okay, so what we have to do actually, and also another part where we could really good test, is that...
if the image is empty.
Yes. So how can we test that the best? I thought we have that already in place. I'm a bit sad now. So what I would do is...
I would say we'll do something else.
We do?
Open it again and see if this works if we provide an image. Can just restart it?
Can I first fix that issue, because it's very quickly and I'm very good at that. So let's do that. So if what we want to do is if image byte array unequal to is equal to null, return false.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that solves already all our problems. Not for now, because we have to restart, but after that it's done. So let's hit that, try it, and works. I didn't do it. So there is a question. As I understood, consumer build state provider of listen false mean pass data to provider. That's absolutely correct. So if we have that done and we press submit. Okay, maybe we crash now somewhere else. I'm stupid. The problem is that we don't have here a question mark.
Yeah.
You like that if I
yeah.
say, huh? You like that.
No, I like that. Yeah, you just look at it and figured out what's going on. Okay. Yeah.
So we press a name, we press submit, we give a name that is not existent, and we get submit. We get give more not existent names. The category exists already, really?
No.
I highly doubt that. So okay, we made a mistake.
I would say
because
restart.
I got it, because we return here false, and when we return false, we only have one error message at the moment, which is that part. But it doesn't fail anymore, which is good, I think.
Do we need to still the return false?
Yes, because we don't want to execute the get dominant image color without an image. Because then would that part fail. So whenever this guy is null, we want to return, then something is wrong. Right? Here we could now return an error message, a valid, or we could even throw an error or something. But I think that's valid for now, and we keep it for now, because our day is already over. We had 2 hours.
Do you want still to add in a category to see how does it work with the...
Oh yeah, sure, with the UR.
Spinner.
So, okay, so new category with spinner. Click on the image, get in a photo.
I would say don't try too much.
Zack, clicking submit. We have the loading spinner quickly, and here we go. Here it is. All happy?
Yeah, perfect.
Fantastic. All right, so with that in mind, I will close off that. Go away, we are done. This is done. We talked about loading spinners. Oh god, we have so much to do today. All right, amazing. So we commit all of that stuff.
That was great again. Our session is over. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. That was great again with you. Thank you for supporting us, as always.
It's so good, really. It makes so much fun.
We are all happy. Love it. And we are happy that you are happy, guys. So
we have to fix that. Really, I get annoyed by it. So fix it.
Always a pleasure to watching you guys.
I hope you have the most fun as we have, because it's getting better and better, and I really like that. So it's the best that I'm enjoying that whole stuff, I think. So, and push the whole thing, and you can find everything in Git. I can do more videos about provider, sure.
The next video about State management gonna be
Riverpod.
Riverpod.
I'm really hoping that it will be Riverpod. I think there was a new version now, 0.6.
Yeah, this is already out, so
the whole
there is
community
no
gets
any
angry.
excuse anymore.
Not really.
So, wish the next video should come out.
Yeah, it will be.
We are all waiting.
We will see that. All right. So, bye everyone. Thank you for watching this.
Thank you very much, guys. See you soon again.
Yep. Riverpod.
Woo.
Why we need to focus on state management? You
Guys.
don't. I have created